Green loved lima beans, but she never ate them.
All of her friends hated lima beans and she wanted to fit in. Camilla always worried about what other people thought of her.
Today she was fronting even more than usual. It was the very first day of school. She couldn't decide what to wear. There were so many people dressed.
She tried on 42 outfits, but none of them seemed quite right. She put on a pretty red dress and looked in the mirror. Then she screamed.
Her mother ran into the room and screamed too.
Oh my heavens, you're completely covered in stripes!
She cried. This was certainly true. Camilla was striped from head to toe. She looked like a rainbow.
Miss Green felt Camilla on her forehead.
Do you feel alright? She asked. I feel fine, but just look at me. You get back in bed this instant. You're not going to school today.
Her mother ordered. Camilla was relieved. She didn't want to miss her first day of school. She was afraid of what the other kids would say. She had no idea what to wear with those crazy stripes.
That afternoon, Dr. Bumble came to examine Camilla.
Most extraordinary. I've never seen anything like it. Are you having any coughing, sneezing, runny nose, aches, pains, chills, hot flashes, dizziness, drowsiness, shortness of breath, or uncontrollable twitching? Yes. No, I feel fine.
Camilla told him.
Well then, I don't see every reason why she shouldn't go to school tomorrow. Here's some ointment. That should help clear up those stripes in a few days. And if it doesn't, you know where to reach me.
Dr. Bumble said, turning to Mrs. Cream, and off she went.
The next day was a disaster. Everyone at school laughed at Camilla. They called her Camilla Cran and Knight of the Living Lollipop.
She tried her best to act everything was normal. But when the class did the Pledge of Allegiance, her stripes turned red, white, and blue, and she broke out in stars.
The other kids thought this was great. One yelled out,
Let's see some purple polka dots.
sure enough, Camilla turned all purple polka dotty. Someone else shouted,
Checkerboard!
and a pattern of squares covered her skin. Soon everyone was calling out shapes and colors, and poor Camilla, she was changing faster than if you changed channels on a TV. That night, Mr. Holmes, the school principal, called.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Cream. I'm going to have to ask you to keep Camilla home from school. She's just too much of a distraction, and I've been getting phone calls from the other parents. They're afraid the stripes may be contagious.
She said Camilla was so embarrassed. She couldn't believe that 2 days ago everyone liked her. Now nobody wanted to be in the same room with her.
Her father tried to make her feel better.
Is there anything I can get you, sweetheart?
Yeah, no thank you.
Like Camilla, what she really wanted was a nice plate of lima beans. She had been laughed at enough for one day.
Well, yes, I see. I think I'd better bring in a specialist. We'll be right over.
Soon, Dr. Bumble, said Dr. Bumble to Mr. Cream on the phone. About an hour later, Dr. Bumble brought 4 people along the way. She introduced them to the
So this is Dr. Grote, Dr. Punch, Dr. Green, and Dr. Young. Then the specialist went to work on Camilla. They squeezed and jabbed and tapped and tested. It was very uncomfortable. Well, it's not the mumps or the measles. Definitely not the chickenpox or sunburn.
replied the specialist.
Try these. Take one of each beforehand.
Said the specialist. They each handed her a bottle filled with different colored pills. They filed up the front door, followed by Dr. Bumble.
That night, Camilla took her medicine. It was all her medicine.
When she woke up the next morning, she did feel different, but when she got dressed, her hair didn't fit right. She looked in the mirror, and there, staring back at her, was a giant multicolored pill.
Dr. Bumble rushed over as soon as Mrs. Cream called. But this time, instead of the specialist, he brought the expert.
Dr. Board and Mr. Mellon were the finest scientific minds. Once again, Camilla poked and prodded and looked at and listened to.
The experts wrote down lots of numbers. Then they huddled together and whispered. Dr. Board finally spoke.
It could be a fungus.
He announced his authority. Suddenly, fuzzy little virus balls appeared all over Camilla.
Or possibly some form of bacteria. Then Mr. Mellon, out popped squiggly little bacteria tails.
It might be a virus.
Added Dr. Board. Instantly, Camilla was covered with different colored fungus blotches. The experts looked at Camilla, then each other.
We need to go over these numbers again back at the lab. We'll go in when we know something.
Said the experts, but the experts didn't have a clue, much less a cure.
By now, the TV news had found out
Breaking news! Incredible changing girl tonight at 7.
Soon a huge crowd was camped out on the front lawn.
The grades were small with all kinds of psychologists, allergists, herbalists, nutritionists, psychics, and old a guru, and even a veterinarian.
Each so-called cure only had to support Camilla's strange appearance until it was hard to even recognize her. She sprouted roots and berries and crystals and feathers and a long furry tail, but nothing worked.
One day, a woman who called herself an environmental therapist claimed she could cure Camilla. She said,
Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and have one with your room. I wish you hadn't said that.
Camilla groaned. Slowly she started to melt into the walls of her room. Her belly became her mouth, her nose was a dresser, and 2 paintings were her eyes. The therapist screamed and ran from the house.
What are we going to do? It keeps getting worse and worse.
Cried Mrs. Cream. She began to stop.
At that moment, Mr. Cream heard a quiet little knock at the front door. He opened it, and there stood an old woman who was just as plump and as sweet as a strawberry.
Excuse me, but I think I can help. She said brightly.
She went to Camilla's room and looked around.
My goodness, what we have here is a bad case of strength, one of the worst I've ever seen.
She said, straight up her head. She pulled a container of small green beans from her bag. She said,
Here, these might do the trick. Are those magic beans? Oh my, no, there's no such thing. These are just plain old lemon beans. I bet you like some, wouldn't you?
She asked Camilla. Camilla wanted a beekeeping plate full of lima beans more than just about anything. But she was still afraid to admit it. She said,
Yuck. Nobody likes lima beans, especially me.
Oh yeah, I guess I was wrong about
Said the old woman sadly. She put the beans back in her bag and started towards the door.
Camilla watched the old woman walk away. Those beans would taste so good, and being laughed at for eating them was nothing compared to what she'd been going through. She finally couldn't stand it.
Wait, the truth is I really love lima beans. She cried. The old woman smiled, popping a handful of beans into Camilla's mouth and said, I thought so.
said Camilla. Suddenly the branches, feathers, and squiggly hair began to disappear. Then the whole room swirled around. When it stopped, there stood Camilla and everything was back to normal.
I'm cured!
She shouted. The old woman said,
Yes, I knew the real you was in there somewhere.
She patted Camilla on the head and went outside and vanished.
Afterward, Camilla wasn't quite the same.
Some of the kids at school said she was weird. She didn't care a bit.
she ate all the lima beans she wanted, and she never had to touch a stripe again.